Hey there, guys. Well, this morning's match, I think, showed that maybe I do kind of know what I'm doing when it comes to this game. That wasn't too bad at all. I wanted to show you something here that I think is not necessarily game breaking, but is something that you should know if you're doing sort of a build it up from the bottom type save. I think with any version of Football Manager. So let's go take a look at this here. So as you know, I mean, we have a very, very small squad. It should be either 21 or 22 players in this squad, 22 exactly, right? We have no money, right? So I was able to get us from about 1,600 per week budget up to a little bit over 2,000 pounds per week. We're spending right under 2,000 a week. There's just not a whole lot of money. I was able to do this by going into the scouting budget and like completely slashing it. I still have 10,000 the scouting budget for who knows what, but we're not going to use it, right? And I thought, oh, well, now that I've done that, I could get enough players to fill up the B team under 19s. Not quite. So the under 19s have those players. The B team has one guy, this Oliver Furon, who I wanted to kind of get rid of and who's not very happy with me. He's on 100 pounds a week. But this is the problem, right? When you look at this, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see here. Screw doing it that way. We're going to do it this way. We got 17 guys on 5 pounds a week, right? So that means it's probably, 105 pounds overall, something like that, right? You've got 17 guys on 5 pounds a week plus one guy here on 100. So that's 205. And then we could do the math easily. 205, 210, 215, 315, 415, plus 1,500. So that's 915 a week. And we've got, add another 280 pounds a week, right? So, I mean, I don't know, that's like not even 1,200 pounds a week that we're playing in actual wage. But this here adds up to almost 2,000 a week. Why is that the case? It's because if you have players who are on non-contract, like most of our team is, it still counts. Like the amount of contract that they are owed in terms of like appearance fee counts against your finances, right? Which is a problem. Why is it this way? I don't know. It's because that's the way that the people who made this game made it, right? But that's the way that it is. So you have, I mean, the numbers do not add up. You can see this right here, right? 1,170 per week in actual wages, right? And so, like, where does the rest of the money come from, right? Advised maximum basic wage per week. I suppose that it comes from something like this. I don't know, right? I don't know. I don't understand where this comes from. I don't understand why it is that the game will tell you that even though you're only spending 1,100 per week, that you're actually spending 2,000 per week, right? It doesn't make any sense, because if we did this correctly, I should be able to sign all the players that I want to who are on non-contract and not have a count against me. But in terms of what the game actually looks at, it does count all of this stuff against you. So it's a problem. It's a major problem. This probably is going to be the thing here that shows us what it's really like. It shows you here the total amount of wage. And yeah, you can see here all of these guys here are on non-contract, and some of them are 70 per week, some of them 45, some of them 40 per week. I mean, it's not what the contract says. So when we look at Danielowitz, he has 120 a week in an appearance fee, right? But for some reason, we're counting that not as 120 a week. We're counting that as 70 per week in terms of wage, even though he doesn't have a wage, right? So, I mean, basically, my question here is, can somebody explain to me why it is that I have players on non-contract on a team that is mostly non-contract that end up costing me money in terms of a wage? Why does that make any sense? Why do I have any sort of, wage, how do I want to say this? Why do I have any sort of, wage cost for a guy who doesn't have a wage, right? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Why is this counting against me? Why couldn't I have a team that is 100% amateur with none of this wage, counting against me at all? Now, I can't really show this to you in World Super League because all of the teams are semi-pro. But if you look at different saves, if you go do an around the world save with a team that's actually amateur, what you'll notice is that this problem doesn't come up. You have a wage budget of 0 and everybody's wage is 0, right? You don't have to worry about this stuff. You also don't have to worry about having these weird contracts where you're paying like per appearance, right? Instead of having that kind of non-contract, you have a totally amateur contract. Unfortunately, because we're not an amateur club, we can't put people on an amateur contract. The only type of contract we can put them on is a non-contract, which means that we are technically paying them a wage. And so as a result, no matter what we do, this wage budget part is going to be something. I can't make this be zero. Even if we got rid of all the players with a normal wage, this would still end up being something. Now, the problem that we have from this is that when you're going and you're making a deal with a player and you want to know what impact it's going to have on your salary commitments, there's no way of knowing. I mean, there's no possible way of knowing. In fact, the best thing you could do, I would argue, if the player allows you to, is to try to give them one of these £5 per week deals so that you're not ending up spending £70 a week on a guy. I don't want to say that I'm like going to complain about this. I think that this guy's okay. The guy I do want to complain about is Daniel Pudil, who is making way too much in wage for us, and who's exploring his options at the end of the contract. Right? I'm pretty unhappy that I have to pay that, but whatever. I mean, we'll pay it. Whatever. We'll make it work. We'll get rid of him afterwards. Right? We've got these 3 young guys who came in. This is kind of what the new team's going to be based around. I mean, knowing how the finances are going to work here for us, I know that it says that we have an awful looking projection. That is not going to happen. And the reason why is because I know how World Super League works. We're going to end up actually having several £1 million of money in the bank once we get to the 2023-2024 season. I mean, once that happens, once that comes, we're going to be perfectly fine. It'll be all right. We'll be able to go professional, and then we'll get ourselves out of this mess. But for the time being, it's kind of a problem, because you go over to your salary commitments, and unfortunately, some of these guys do cost money, even though they don't cost you anything. It doesn't make any sense. Why is it that way? Well, I don't know. Just Football Manager things. Anyway, hope you have a good day. I'll talk with you tomorrow. Bye.